What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Eclectic Beard. So this go round, a little bit different. We've got average American versus average Indian. So here in this country, we've got a lot of people that immigrate from India, and I'll be honest with you, a lot of folks don't have a very high opinion because they see them as taking jobs a lot of times or buying up properties and things of that nature. But you take and talk to these to the Indians, and they're really nice, man. They're really nice. Like we just had some people from India taken by the gas station up the road that's been owned by a local family for 20, 30 some odd years, and a lot of folks aren't all that happy about it. And I'll be honest with you, with all the places I've been that are owned by people that are from India, I was ecstatic. I ain't even gonna lie, because, well, the disrepair and everything that tends to happen sometimes whenever you live in a small community and it's family run, especially if it's passed down to another generation and that don't care as much. And you go to these places that are owned by Indians, and normally they're nicer. They've got a different selection of what you'd have in other stores. So I'm really happy. My thing is, I'm like, we've got Indian restaurants here now. They own motels. They own not only the restaurants, motels. They own gas stations. They've integrated themselves, or they've been able to integrate themselves pretty heavily into the American way of doing things, basically. At least what most Americans consider the American dream, having a house and business, being self-sufficient, or, owning businesses and stuff like that. They seem to accomplish pretty well. So take a look at average American versus average Indian. I'd like to take and know more about their culture personally. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into this.
Life in a developed country versus life in a developing country can be very different. What you eat, where you live, and how long you live for are all dependent on everything from the economy, to education, to the employment opportunities in each country. Today we'll be looking at how life in two nations, situated on opposite sides of the globe, compares in all these areas and more. Welcome to this episode of the infographic show, Average American versus Average Indian. The population of America is just under 326 million people, with the average age being 37.9 years old. India's population is an impressive 1.4 billion, which is the second largest.
And people in the U.S. often, what do you think? We have a lot of people here. 1.4 billion. That's over 3 times as many people. Holy crap.
Population in the world after China, and the average age of an Indian person is 29. The life expectancy for both Indian males and females is 66.9, with India ranked at 126 on the global life expectancy chart. America does much better, ranking at 31, with men typically living to the age of 76.9 and women living a little longer to 81.6. When it comes to height, the average American male is 5 feet 9 inches, and for a female it's 5 feet 3.5 inches. The average height of an Indian male is only 5 feet 5 inches, and an Indian woman is 5 feet. The average weight of an American citizen is 178 pounds, with 73.9% considered to be above their ideal body weight. And in India, the average person is 127 pounds, with 24.2% considered to be above their ideal body weight. That's quite a difference, so let's take a look at how the diets of these two nations compare and whether that has an influence. Americans are known for their.
Something tells me diet has a massive influence on that. A massive one. Here, everything is processed and just generally unhealthy. It's either deep fried or double deep fried.
Their love of hamburgers, buffalo wings, deep dish pizzas, Texas barbecue, and of course, good old-fashioned hot dogs. All foods that have a high calorie count. Indians, on the other hand, like dishes full of spice, from chicken tikka masala, which is chunks of roasted marinated chicken in a spiced curry sauce, or rogan josh, which is lamb or goat, also with a spiced sauce, both of which are generally eaten with rice, and naan, which is an Indian style of bread. These very different food styles may account for the difference in average weight between Americans and Indians, but things are changing, with.
Alright, so real quick, another pause. I'll bet you a lot of times the spice also includes a chili of some sort. Chili helps one of the things I don't know if a lot of folks know, but one of the things, if you're dieting, one of the things that can actually help would be adding chili of some sort, because it helps with metabolism. Something to do with the I don't know if it's the I guess it's the I don't know if it's the capsaicin that's in it, or it's just the natural proteins that are within it itself. But I can see, especially, because a lot of spices, stuff with a lot of spices in it, so it's not processed. It's not going to be something that's processed. So you got stuff like the chicken tikka masala, and even the breads and stuff like that, putting it with rice, while it might, the bread and the rice might be starches, it's not processed stuff. So I bet you the rice is probably a better quality than what we have here.
May account for the difference in average weight between Americans and Indians. But things are changing, with fast food such as McDonald's now readily available in Indian cities. CNN featured an article about the rise of obesity in India, referencing a research paper in the Indian Journal of Endocrinology and Metabolism, headed by Dr. Pradeep Chaubey. The paper stated that a survey of 10th, 11th, and 12th graders in public schools found that 33% of them were obese. Another study of 4,000 children in Delhi found 22% were overweight and 6% qualified as obese. So we've looked at physical stuff, height, weight, and lifespan. What about the day-to-day reality of living in these two nations and how that compares?
And real quick, just due to the fact they've got a lot more fast food places, and it showed McDonald's on there. Love that. McChoke and puke, as I like to call them. Makes sense to start to take and see more kids that are overweight, because that place is highly unhealthy.
Cost of living in the USA versus India. Renting a one-bedroom apartment in a city center in India will cost you around $200, while in a US city, you'll be lucky to get a place for under $1,200. There is a huge difference across the board whether you're buying groceries, paying utility bills, or eating out. Consumer prices in the United States are 184% higher than in India, restaurant prices in the United States are 290% higher than in India, and grocery prices in the United States are 183% higher than in India.
And I would say, well, wages are higher too, so it's easier to afford, and that's horse hockey. The fact is, a one-bedroom apartment is $1,200 a month. Yeah, whoa. I'm gonna tell you what, everything's the wages here haven't taken a risen commensurate with the cost of living. So a lot of times, some of this stuff is being afforded on 2 jobs.
And the same goes for salary. If you are a skilled professional in India, it's possible to earn between $4,000 to $5,000 per month, which is a decent salary considering how much you'll save on living costs. In the USA, on the other hand, you can make between $6,000 to $7,000 as a skilled professional.
And the thing is, with the $6,000 to $7,000, that's dependent on your experience, how your experience in the field and stuff like that. I would venture to guess that most average American salaries are probably within the $4,000 to $5,000 range. Maybe $5,500. Like, if you've got more than 5, 6, 7 years, maybe 10 years, when then, the profession, depending on what your profession is. Like, if you're a welder, even right out of college, you get on somewhere working 60 hours a week. I could $6,000 to $7,000 salary is. If you got a degree and stuff like that, depending on what field you go into, the salary is somewhere closer to probably to $3,500 to $4,500, maybe $5,000, maybe. That's like, if you're lucky.
So, higher in the US, but not compared to how much higher the cost of living is. What about education in India versus the US? India's education system has changed a great deal in the last 10 years, with big improvements in the quality of education. There's been updated infrastructure, better qualified teachers, improvements in content, and e-learning is gradually becoming a trend in schools. Academic divisions in India are broadly divided into the following categories: pre-primary, primary, secondary, higher secondary, graduation, and post-graduation. Teachers can start teaching to elementary classes after gaining a master's or bachelor's degree, but they have to continue to study if they want to become a qualified teacher and teach in higher level classes. Class sizes average 50 students a class per teacher,
crap.
so much larger than US class sizes. There's greater emphasis on core subjects, with sports and extracurricular activities being optional. Math is compulsory till 10th grade. Most of the government-run public schools are poorly managed and lack decent infrastructure, and even the lower grade children have to carry several books to school. As for the American educational system,
I'm going to tell you what, compared to what's learned here in the States, like math, you're taking that all the way up to 12th grade. You learn English, you learn language arts, reading, spelling up until probably about eighth grade for the spelling. Different forms of science, and then once you take and get into high school, you get into more specified or specific stuff, biology, anatomy, things of that nature. And as far as history goes, well, it ain't taught nearly as well enough as it should be in this country. But I think after like 9th, maybe 10th grade, it's you don't have to take it if you don't want to. So.
Both state and local government play a part in designing the curriculum. America follows a 3-level system: elementary school, middle school, high school, and post-secondary or college. Teachers must hold state certification and licenses to teach. Class sizes are around 20 to 30 students per teacher in each class. Sports and extracurricular activities are considered equally important as core subjects. Math is compulsory till 11th grade. Public schools are well maintained and managed with better infrastructure than in India, and students don't need to carry lots of books to school.
I'm going to tell you right now. That last part about they're better, as far as better maintained and stuff like that. No. There's 50 states in the U.S. I think South Carolina ranks 47th. There's so many failing schools here. It's not even funny. There's schools in poverty-stricken areas, like hardcore poverty-stricken areas, at least for what the U.S. considers poverty. Like, it's not pretty. Those schools aren't very well maintained, and they're in a lot of times high crime areas. So it's kind of a misnomer there. So there we have it: average American versus average Indian. Granted, it says they're a developing country. Whereas we're a developed nation. I'd like to take a note more about how like the actual social system, the social structures work over there, because I know they worked on the caste system for so long. Is that still a thing? Is it still, how does that work? Just definitely, because you want to talk about some place that is a lot different. India would definitely be it. They'd be one place that definitely it's a lot different. So, taking a look more at Indian culture and stuff like that. I don't know. It's don't worry, it won't be stopping with the UK stuff. I mean, for the most part, you're gonna get the shows like from here, shows and some of the comedy. Just for the simple fact of the matter of, in my opinion, American reacts, at least with the UK stuff, it's kind of oversaturated at this point, unfortunately. Like, there's quite a few of us in here in the niche that we've been at it for a while, and I've interviewed most, and we're all cognizant. We all try to take and make sure that we're respectful of each other, and we don't try to step on any toes or anything like that. And we give each other breath and stuff like that. So if somebody's covered something we want to cover, we give it a while before we actually take a look at it. So that way because we know there's overlap in our subscribers. So this is my way of going, all right, I can still do something entitled American Reacts, but I'll look at something a little bit different. This is just that. So yeah, as far as like the health and average size and stuff like that. Stuff like that, you know, the average heights and weights and stuff like that. Well, the heights doesn't exactly. Sometimes I wonder exactly how representative some of these stats are, especially as compared to heights and weight and stuff like that. Because here we got all the fast food and stuff like that, so you would have to think that the weight is going to be a lot great. You know, the weight's going to be higher than what a country like India, who you take and see anything about India, and it all seems to be curry base of some sort, or it's you know it's not it's all home cooked stuff basically. So that taking stuff like that into account, and versus a country like the U.S. where fast food is the norm. The comparison of those two, you're going to have a much higher, much higher weight for another. And I think the 5'5". I'm wondering how old this video is, because a lot of the Indian folks that I've met, they're taller than I am, and I'm 5'9". Like, they're either at my height or a little bit taller, maybe just a hair shorter, but not like 5'5". Which there are some, but they seem to be the older generations seem to be at that probably 5'5", 5'4", 5'6" range and stuff like that. But I'm definitely, they've got a long history. They've got different social structures. Definitely interested to see all that. So, yeah, y'all be good to each other. Love yourselves. Peace.